Welcome to the Long Before podcast. Tonight's Harvey. How you doing tonight, Harvey?
Okay.
Appreciate you being on, man.
All right.
All right, man. You got some NFL news to report. What is the latest signings in the NFL?
Well, I'll give you a rundown on most of what I'm thinking about the NFL right now. Harbaugh for Baltimore signed a 3-year contract extension, which that was pretty good for them.
Yeah, Arizona made Trey McBride the highest paid tight end in the NFL.
Yeah. Dallas got Joe Milton off the Patriots, and he's going to be the backup to Prescott case,
That was
which
for a fifth round pick,
yeah,
and the Cowboys get a seventh round pick back with Joe
yeah,
Milton.
yeah. And Geno Smith now. He signed the 2-year, $75 million contract with the Raiders, and
Extension, yeah.
and it's up to 86 million with uh, incentives, and 66 of that million is guaranteed. So
Extended.
incentives that can bring it up a little higher.
Yeah, if he
That's
like
what
makes the
performance,
playoffs, makes the Super Bowl.
performance. It's all about performance, yeah. And but 66 million to be guaranteed, so you can't blame him. I mean, pretty good deal.
It is.
And we know about Diggs going to the Patriots. To me, I don't know what Houston. I know he's getting six in that 3 year, 60 something million and 26 guaranteed. But I liked when he played for Houston. Him and Mixon was a lot through the punts. So I mean, well, you can't blame him.
And Nico Collins as well.
Yeah,
Houston does still have Nico Collins and
yeah,
Tank Dell, and
yeah.
they picked up what's his name from Jacksonville? Um, can't think of his name. The wide receiver from Jacksonville.
And Russell Wilson went to the Giants. 1 year, $21 million contract, and I think 10 of it's guaranteed. So that's pretty good.
That's a good
Uh,
contract for the Giants,
yeah.
man. That ain't bad.
And what you're thinking about? What's Aaron Rodgers going to do? What do you think?
That's the ultimate question. Is he going to retire or is he going to join the Steelers? That's the question, man.
Well, they got Minnesota thrown in there too, but I don't know because it all depends. If he wants to stay 1 year, he may go to Minnesota but Minnesota, I think, has got somebody waiting in the wings. They got them getting them ready to take over the job.
Minnesota has a first round pick from last year. JJ McCarthy.
Yeah, they were talking about that today. That they agree with him for the job. So I don't know if I'm gonna go there.
No, he ain't going there. He'll more than likely either go to Pittsburgh or retire. I
I
mean,
see
I'll
where.
go to Pittsburgh, man. You got Metcalf there, and you got
Yeah,
Pickens. So I mean, you got two really good wide receivers.
that one guy, Case Keenum, he signed back up for the Bears.
Hmm.
He was a backup to Houston's quarterback. Now he's backing up the Bears quarterback.
Yeah,
And
Caleb Williams.
if anybody's listening like the NFL, have you seen where some of they would uh, talk about maybe making the rules?
Oh, they changed the rules in overtime where each team gets a possession.
That's in regular season right now,
Yep, that rules went through,
and it
and you're
won't. Yeah,
and Calais Campbell signed with the Arizona Cardinals as well.
and the first downs are going to be viewed by cameras, and then not just the chain gang. The ones that move the chains, and they still ain't decided what they're going to do about tush, the tush push rule.
Oh yeah, wasn't it the Packers that wanted that out of the game?
I have an idea they're gonna drop that. I think I have an idea they're gonna disallow that. I
The
really
Packers
do.
are the one that brought that up.
So in one way, I mean, it could to me it could be the right thing. I mean, but but it is funny to watch them do that. Eh?
Yeah.
but they may drop that. That's
They shouldn't get
mostly,
rid of it though, honestly.
yeah. And the touchback, yeah, they're going to the touchback's going to be on 35-hour line. I didn't know that, but I see that today that our touchback will be on the 35. What was it? What it had been on 20?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think they're going to put it on 35 this year.
I think they did that last year.
Yeah, they
They
might.
did some new kickoff rule last year.
Yeah, well, I think it's going to still be in place. Don't the college put it on 35 or 30?
Not sure.
But that's mostly what's been going on in the NFL right now. And yeah, I found out something today. I hate seeing it on the ESPN Facebook or anything.
Hmm.
Uh, don't know what Cincinnati's going to do if they'll sign a contract or extension to their stadium, the Bengals.
Oh yeah, they're thinking about moving somewhere else.
I didn't know that till today.
Yep. They have a 1 year left on their deal with the stadium.
Yeah,
But that stadium could they have a clause where they can get it like 1 more year.
yeah, that's very interesting. But I'd hate to see the Bengals leave Cincinnati.
Yeah. That would
But
be
in
bad,
the,
man.
yeah, but these days of time, the markets is makes a lot to do with it.
Yeah. I mean Cincinnati's an okay market for football.
Yeah, yeah,
They have a loyal fan base.
yeah. That's much up to date I've seen on the NFL. What I've been going through.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate you with the NFL update. All
Yeah.
right, Harvey, we had two special elections, man, in Florida in the House. Um, in District 6, we had Randy Fine. He got 110,764 votes, and Joshua, the Democrat candidate, got 83,485. In District 1, you had this Jimmy. I can't say his name, honestly. His last name's crazy. 97,335 votes, and then the Democrat candidate had 72,304. So Republicans won both House special elections.
Which one of them was from Matt Gates' seat?
Um, District 1, that
And
Jimmy guy won it.
yeah, and I don't know who the other replaced. You remember who the other replaced?
Walsh.
Okay, okay, that's right. Yeah, well, he's in his cabinet too, ain't he?
Gates is not, but Walsh
No,
is.
but
Yeah.
the other one is, yeah. And his
Yeah.
name Matt Walsh.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so that
Yeah.
was a two. That was a two seat.
Randy Fine won that seat. Yeah.
Yeah, special elections. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
He
that made
won that by about 14%. Randy Fine did.
yeah. So they basically got their two seats back in the house.
They did. So I think it's like 221 to two. I can't remember.
It's not that great.
Yeah, it's
One
like
two twenty one two
and the
thirteen.
woman that from New York that was a Republican that was going to be part of Trump's cabinet, she's going back to the House too. So that gives them another seat.
Oh yeah. Oh,
The one,
Stephanie.
the girl from New York, yeah.
Stephanie. Yeah, I'm glad to see that. They wanted to. They think it probably. I think they wanted. She still, I think, could do something. Whatever but she'll still do that job. But it's probably. I think it's best for her to say where she was at anyway.
Yeah,
I think she better serves them as where she's at.
yeah. It helps Republicans out though, picking up them two seats.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Definitely, man. Mm.
And we're
So
still
Harvey, you was talking about gardening back in the day, man. What kind of gardening did you do back in the day?
well, you name it. No, well, sometimes we used to plant peas, but I mean, several places, where I lived, all of my family, my uncles and aunts, they had gardens too, and we more or less helped each other out. We'd help hold their gardens, but basically, the biggest part would probably be taters and potatoes and beans and corn was the main three. That most people would plant. They would plant peas too, and then maybe a roll of onions and sometimes beets. But it was really green beans and corn and potatoes.
Yeah.
We,
Now, how
we
has Eastern Kentucky changed since back in the day?
they hardly ever see a garden now. That's the biggest thing. There are very few gardens now because I guess it's getting where you probably could go buy it and to raise it. I mean, you would think that would be the case, but it is. So
Yeah.
but back when I was growing up, back when our parents were growing up, but that's what we had to have. And I mean, we went through the summer months a lot, eating out of the garden, and I've seen my mommy can cucumbers and corn, beans, and all that, and you know what, we would raise a lot of taters, and then we back when I was young, we'd dig a big hole in the ground and have stuff like straw and stuff to cover them up with to keep, and into the wintertime we dig them. But the house we were living in now, we had a place on the floor like a tater bed,
Yeah.
and we would when we were ready to hoe our taters for fall, and we would haul them in with sacks of taters and carry them on the floor and dump them into that big tater bed. And you know what? They would stay there all winter, and they would still be good. And having little bitty new taters, they was pretty good to eat, them little bitty taters. And sweet taters too. But, most people, they would, I've seen some people wait until around the last of October to dig their taters, you
Yeah.
know. And one of my uncles always dug his taters whenever they had the November election on a Tuesday. That's where he would dig his taters because he taught school. He would dig his taters on that Tuesday. We would help him. I mean, that's the way we done it back then.
Yeah.
And it really helped to have a tiller, guys, the tiller was real handy to have.
Yeah. And now back in them days, that's when coal mining was booming here in Eastern Kentucky.
Well, it was still pretty good when I was young. In the 50s, it started slowing down. I was born in the 60s, but and it was still pretty good in the 70s, but I guess by 80s, it was in trouble. I mean, I've seen, since I've seen, we had a place up at Leatherwood, Kentucky, and it's called Blue Diamond Mine, Since they had a store, a theater, a restaurant, everything for their miners. They had it all for the miners. I mean, the miners could do what they want to at that place, and that's how it was like a town. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
mean,
Was that in Vico?
and all this was at Leatherwood. It was still in Prairie County,
Oh, you
but
said Leatherwood, my bad.
several, quite a bit away from Vico. And I mean, they had a company store, like I said, a restaurant, a movie theater, and other places where they could do things. I mean, in some places around here they had camp houses, they call them, because that's where the miners lived. They lived in that. camp houses and go to work. You know,
Yeah.
so
Cool, man.
it was a thriving business, big business.
Definitely, man. And Hyman was way different back then too.
Oh yeah, yeah, it was too. I mean, and a lot of people did their businesses on Saturdays most time, unless they
Really?
had court days. You know, when they had court, they had things probably called court days. You know, they the crowd they have probably a crowd, but back even when I was a kid. Most time everybody did their businesses on Hyman, you know, like go to Hyman. It was on Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they had to do a lot on the weekdays, you know.
Had to work.
It was a big thrill for me to go to Hyman. And
Really?
I thought Hazard was, since I thought Hazard was New York City. I'm serious.
Hazard's a pretty town though.
Yeah. But, the older you got, but that's the way it was. I mean, but everybody depended on each other. Everybody tried to help each other up down this where I lived, and the
Baller
neighbors,
and
the neighbors would walk up down the holler, stop and talk to you, ask how everybody's doing. I mean, it don't happen today. I mean, but it did back in the old days. I mean, we everybody saw each other a lot.
yeah, and you had like family gatherings and all that, like family dinners and stuff.
Oh well, I'm gonna tell you, my my daddy's sister that lived back here where we lived. I mean, there was eight of us, and mom and daddy made 10. Sometimes we kept somebody in the family, and then there was my other aunt, and she that lived here and that pretty close to us, and there was about nine of them. And when some of them started getting married, but still, they would come up here at our place about every Sunday, and the next Sunday we go to their place. We have a big crowd.
That's
I mean, you
awesome,
talk
man.
about a house full, but that was
Yeah,
the way it was. And uh, me and my brothers would play ball with the boys a lot. We played basketball, the horseshoes and stuff. Had a pretty good time.
yeah,
They was actually like our brothers, even though we
yeah.
first cousins.
That's
But
the way it was back in them days, man. Because
oh yeah,
families
yeah,
spend more
oh yeah,
time together than what they do now. Well, I
yeah.
mean, you got a bunch of people that's moved off from here now.
Well, back in the 50s, a lot of people around here when the coal business started to get bad, a lot of them moved to Ohio, but in my area, a lot of them they moved to Indiana. All up and down 65, I got kid folks all over that place. But that's where they moved to, a lot of them. But, they about had to. I mean, that's to try to, uh, uh, I mean, we, uh, we had a neighbor, he was a cousin, had a store about not even half a mile where I live.
Oh,
Actually,
like a little country store.
oh yeah, you can smell the country in it. I'm gonna tell you, a Pepsi was 5 cents. Well, could have been a dime, but candy bar, the ice cream, and the bag of potato chips was a nickel, and you got a piece of gum for a penny, and all that. I mean, you had $1, you you spend a week down there at that store.
Yeah.
I mean, serious.
Now chips are like four or something.
Oh yeah, that's just the way it was back then. I mean, people don't realize it, but we did all right. I mean, nobody was rich. I mean, but we had a lot of values. It really what it was then was a lot of moral values. I mean, not everybody was perfect, but everybody, really cared about other. And I want to tell you, says if somebody had a family member was about to pass away, and the family needed people. A lot of the neighbors would break stuff in, and they would set up with them too, the family, until that person passed away, and a lot of times they didn't go to the funeral homes because they was like when I was growing up, they was only like we had one when I was a young kid, and it was Hyman Funeral Home, and they usually did the services, but most time it was at they had their they had their funerals at home.
Oh yeah.
I had my daddy. We had him here at our house. One of my uncles, my grandma, and my other grandma. They was we had them at their homes.
Hmm.
And but you say how could people fit like that? But it did. Same when my dad passed away. It was a it was a bad snow on the ground that day he passed away. I mean, when he passed away, the day of his funeral, it was better, but still, we had a crowd here. I mean, but that's the way it was.
Yeah.
But
We still have, we have good people here. Here in
yeah,
Eastern Kentucky, man.
oh
I
yeah,
think they're the
yeah,
best people in America here in Eastern Kentucky.
oh yeah, yeah. It's yeah. The people really help people. I mean,
They still do, to be honest.
oh yeah, you have to, if I can help somebody, I can. I sure will try to. If I can't, I can't. I
Definitely,
mean,
man. But yeah,
people.
that was a cool story about the store, man. So how has stores changed? I mean, here in Eastern Kentucky, as far as like country stores and stuff.
Oh, they ain't very well. That's very. I don't know if there's one left anymore. Way back, maybe 20 years ago, I saw one up Fletcher County that reminded me of no country store,
What
and it
up
was.
Pine Mountain still?
I don't know if they still want it through there or not. But the price, it may still be, but still the prices, only change would be the prices.
Oh, from like the old day country stores.
Yeah, I mean, I can remember one up in Viper, which it's shut down now. They would, if you wanted a bologna sandwich, they cut you a tomato, they get mayonnaise and bologna or ham, whatever you want, light bread. They fix you a sandwich. And
Yeah,
back when I done that, it was like 75 cents for the sandwich.
yeah. There is a country store up Cowan.
It could be, yeah. I mean, they probably
Yeah.
are.
And yeah. There ain't one in Knott County.
Well,
Well, that one store, Caney One Stop could be considered a country store, maybe.
probably would be that way. Yeah, it probably because it probably had been a long time.
Yeah. So I guess you consider Caney One Stop a country store.
When I was a young boy starting school, I think there were one, two, three, four. Within a mile, there was probably five stores.
Wow.
And one of my kid people, well, most of them was kid people to me, but one of my cousins had a big store. He was a little bit bigger than the other ones. He had a modern day Walmart back in the '60s, early '60s. He really did, Seth. He had a modern day Walmart. I mean, that's how big his store was.
That's crazy, man. Where was that at?
Uh, it, well, you know where you turn up Arsenal going Perkin Bend Road,
Yeah.
right in that area. The dam took all, the lake took all those places down to there. That's where they was at. They was three stores practically right next to one another.
Was they rivals?
They was all one. Hey, two or three of them was brothers.
What?
They was all brother. Two of them was, I think, two or three of them was brothers. Two out of
Oh
them, two
my
of them was brothers.
God.
Yes. Uh, and one of them moved the store up at the Pine Top way back with a county with a Lake Tucky. They moved up Pine Top in ain't there now. Uh, but the one had a store. I mean, he had a Walmart there. I mean, genuine Walmart. Yeah. You might want to say you can buy
What did
anything
what did he have in it?
there. Clothes, shoes, groceries. Yeah. I mean, probably hardware.
Oh, was you ever in it or no?
Oh yeah, several times, but I wasn't big as nothing. You got to, yeah, I wasn't big as nothing. I'm talking. I had faint memories of it. You talking about a 4 or 5 year old kid,
Oh, I got you. I got you.
but I still know where the stores was at. I'd been in them.
Yeah. Do they have like old pop machines outside and stuff?
Yeah, well, well, if you want to think about, you close your store. My neighbor lives right up the road from me. You know where I'm talking about too, right there on my side of the road.
Yeah.
He put in a store back in the late mid 70s. Him and his wife come up here just so they could watch her daddy. He had two pop machines outside the store, and he had a little bitty small store. He sold a little bit of stuff, but it was the biggest thing he sold was pop, potato chips, and ice cream and stuff like that.
Candy bars and all that.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, I'll tell you how good we was. Me and my brother would go and help him do something. And, we would help him with something he wanted help. And when we get through, he'd say, "Boys, go to the store there and get out the cooler there and get your pop." We go to the store there and get some pop. And the Sprite was real good, and the machines. Hey, them glass pops was best drinking pops you could get. They was cold, and I mean they were nothing like them. Said good
They
pop.
still they still got them a little bit, but they
Oh
probably
yeah,
taste a little different from what they did then.
oh yeah, yeah. He had a cooler inside of the store too, but they were still cold. He sold half gallons. He sold half gallons of ice cream.
Oh, really?
Want me to tell you a story about? I'll tell you a story about it. Man, my first cousin and my brother. My first cousin made a bet. He told my brother. He said, first one that can eat a half gallon of ice cream has to pay for the other ones. So they went up at the store, got them a half gallon of ice cream apiece, come down here and sit at our kitchen table. My first cousin he had no, he, he, he was not going to eat his. He was
He
just,
had no shot.
huh?
Oh, he was just
He was
pranking
just
pretty much.
going to, no, he was going to see if my brother could eat his. So he ate some of his, and then he looked at me and my brother. He said, "You boys want some?" So we got us some ice cream and helped him. We eat the rest of his, and my brother eat all his half gallon of ice cream. So he had to pay him back for his ice cream. And it was a dollar. I think it was like $1.35 for that half gallon of ice cream.
That wasn't worth it.
He had no intention of eating his anyway. He just wanted to see if my brother could do it. And my brother did it.
And your brother was sick as a dog after.
Why no? Oh no. But that's the way we was. I mean, we had a lot of our cousins here a lot half the time, and in the summertime, we spent a lot of time in the summertime down at my uncle's house. You know what I'm talking about. Uh, Dale's daddy and where they lived, and
Yeah.
we played we played games, and my other uncle, we had all kinds of games we played. I mean,
Basketball was probably fun back
we
then too.
we played that. That's where I learned how to first started shooting.
The bank shot.
Well, my uncle he helped me. He taught me how to shoot the bank shot. My uncle, Dale's daddy
Oh,
did. So, of course, he was a coach for years. Uh, We had a barn down there, and we had a goal there next to the barn. And my uncle run a light from the house to a walnut tree, and we could play with night boy because the light was shined on the bongo.
They call that redneck engineering.
Well, you know what his bongo was made of?
Wood.
Well, we would go and cut a pole that's got a fork so far up that fork off,
Mm-hmm.
and we cut it up so far. And then my uncle worked for the power company, and he would get one of them old spools. You know them spools. He would get a half of one of them spools and bring it up, and they would nail that go to that spool, and then nail the go to the to the pole, the tree, and then we put it in the ground and we played. We put up a lot of ball goals. And hey, a lot of our neighbors lived up above us. They would come down to play, but everybody had a ball goal. But just about every household had a ball goal. I mean, everybody go around playing at their brother's ball goal. They
Yeah.
can't find one.
Can't find a ball go.
I hardly ever find a ball goal now. But that's how it was. Whenever we was outside a lot, even when in the wintertime we was outside. I mean, we'd skate on the road. Saw the cheetah eyes. We'd skate up down the road. Snowball fight.
Skate.
All right, yeah, have boots on slick. Brother, I can skate too, buddy. Seriously. Well, sometimes without stopping. Of course, we had sleds, and well, sometimes we didn't have sled. We got little refrigerator doors come up hills. Oh, they
That's
would
what you
fly too, but
use.
huh?
That's what you use as a sled.
Oh yeah, let me tell you, they'd move. Seriously. I mean, but we had to do something back then. We didn't watch that much TV in the wintertime of the night and the summertime. But boy, we had to have stuff like that. We had to invent our own game. You know what game we, you know what one game we played here in the house in the wintertime said?
What's that?
I had two cowboy boots, and we would have them old, little rubber balls, and well, it's almost like a softball, but it was and we'd be one in that room. One of them would get on the floor, and the other would get in the floor, and we would throw that ball. If it goes in the boots, you had 2 points, and they would throw it back up, see which one could score. Every went to 21 won, and then somebody else played. We called it boot ball. I mean, it was. Could you imagine a 6'7" guy sitting down at the floor and his legs sticking out playing that ball?
No.
As well, yeah. And we would watch it there with the others. I mean, you couldn't block it or anything. You had to let it try to go in, and we'd have like dingo boots. They were slick. They were good boots. It was something to do.
Your cousin played at Moorhead State, right?
Yeah, I tell his knee hurt. His knee, yeah, he started out at Moorhead.
That's impressive, man.
That was in 1970. He graduated from Car Creek 72. So 72, 73, and something like that. But he was already to work on his pharmacy. That's what he ended up doing and working at a pharmacy.
Oh yeah.
But he had a basketball scholarship to go so that helped him.
Would would he be easy to get on the podcast to talk about his basketball days?
I don't know. He ain't got a cell phone, but lives down there at Malovico, and he has some stories about playing ball against Garland Centers and them. Garland them was a year behind him.
Yeah, maybe we can set that up sometime, Harvey.
And he played. He played for Car Creek. He graduated in 72. He was pretty good.
We hopefully we can set that up sometime. That'd be a fun interview.
I mean, just we could tell a whole lot. I mean, I got a whole lot. I mean, well, Dale played for North Central. He was pretty good.
Yeah, he might be able to use your phone or something
Well,
when
we,
he's there with you or something. We can figure it out.
yeah,
But I
he
got a camera and stuff I can take to do
he
stuff.
had some good players on his team there at Morehead. They were
Yeah,
real good.
but I got a camera. I can do like a live interview or something.
Well, you're going to try to do a live interview with Dale. I mean, he, he. Well, I will tell you, I had. You were talking about basketball. I one of my uncles played in the 1940s, and the other uncle played in 19. He was on in the 52, 50, in our area, and then I had a third cousin played on the 56 championship team at Carter Creek, and then my uncle's brother was a starting guard of the 56 championship team. But they, and then they was there was a lot of people on this holler played in high school ball. And I got a cousin said played in the Louisville Invitational Tournament against Wes Unseld. You heard him talk about him, didn't you?
That's a legend, man.
Well, my cousin held him down in the Louisville Invitational Tournament, and they beat Louisville Central that year.
Wow. Yeah, I've heard of Wes on sale.
He was good. He was real good.
Every basketball enthusiast does. Definitely.
So basketball was a big thing, real big thing. Even that way, you know what? I can tell you right now, but when we watched basketball TV, so we had an old TV. Of course, it was in the bedroom. We could watch it. We could sit at the kitchen table watch it. Uh, even though, but sometimes they would listen to the Kentucky Wildcats play on the radio,
Yeah.
and Kay would never be calling the ball games. And I think what they would do there, my daddy and them, they would get popcorn and put it in an old popcorn popper and put it over an old fireplace. I ain't talking about a stove like an electric stove. I'm talking about an old fireplace with an old fashioned chimney.
Yeah.
And they would shake that, put that pan through there till the popcorn started popping. And sometimes, I mean, I will tell you that popcorn was good. And sometimes my mom would make popcorn balls, and they would listen to the radio. They would listen to Cable Living.
Yeah. That's
I mean,
when
he did call
Kentucky
them
was
right,
more popular. What they are.
but we was the only. I mean, we were the only one doing it. A lot of people did that.
Oh yeah. A lot of people. I mean, especially here in Eastern Kentucky, man, it was Kentucky country. I mean, it still is.
And
We got a lot of Kentucky fans.
my daddy had one of the first televisions on his holler. And of
Really?
course, the neighborhood come around and watch it.
Watch Kentucky play or
Oh, well, they watched everything. Even I mean, you only had like one or two channels. I mean, hey, buddy, when I was a little young boy, we had three channels, all we had, and
yeah.
they had a ladder wall running up the hill too.
And you
Until
watched Wilt play, didn't you?
huh?
Wilt Chamberlain, you watched him play a little bit.
Well, yeah,
And Kareem.
yeah. I remember watching Kareem and Little Wilt Chamberlain, but we grew. I mean, I watched Andy Griffith. That's how I started watching Andy Griffith. Yeah, I remember
That's how you
one of
become an
my
Andy
favorite
Griffith
show.
enthusiast.
My favorite show of all
You're an
time.
Andy Griffith enthusiast, man.
But we had ABC, CBS, and NBC. I mean, I'm talking about. I'm telling you about my child growing up. Uh, when I started before I even started school, we had a ABC channel out in Asheville, North Carolina. They showed cartoons. Of a morning days, the guy come on like 5 o'clock, something like that, 6 o'clock. Sometimes before we go to school, we'd eat breakfast and we would watch it. That's how I first started knowing about the Three Stooges. They would show the Three Stooges and a lot of other cartoons. Casper the Friendly Ghost. I mean, it was. We had good TV.
Had some classics, man.
Yeah, but we watched them every night. You know,
Tom and Jerry.
Tom and Jerry. That they classics too. I mean, but you know that's what we had to do. You know, I mean they played horseshoes a lot of the summer here too.
And TV went off at a certain time, didn't it?
Yeah, that was yeah, probably sometime around 1 o'clock or something like that.
Oh, they stopped showing stuff. What would just happen and just go off
Well,
completely?
after they went out there, it was nothing but snow. And my daddy's the TV we had like a little plate on the back. You raise it up with hinges, raise the
Yeah.
top of the back. That's where your sound was and your knob to change the channel.
Oh yeah. Now
It
how
wasn't
did
on the
you
front.
so when did when did TV start going from going off to a certain time to being 24/7?
Oh,
70s?
maybe late 70s. Well, I can remember watching the midnight special on Friday nights with Wolfman Jack. He had it called the Friday, midnight special, and he would go off sometimes 2:30. But I think I, it might have still been some channels were still going then. They started getting more channels. We started getting more channels. Then I think, really around early, late 70s and early 80s is when they really started a lot of it going full time.
It was booming, yeah.
They had a show called Night Tracks on, uh, and it was on MTV, no, or VH1, and they showed pop videos all through the night.
Hmm.
That's what video took over the radio. There's those songs called "Video Killed the Radio Star." Video took over for the radio. Even the radio ain't popular now.
Podcasts are, man, like this.
That is, yeah.
Podcasts has took over the radio.
I wish people could really go back and if they could do it, they need to go back. They used to have a channel on the radio on AM. It was called What Radio Was, and they would broadcast old shows, even Gunsmoke on the radio. I mean, that's how old Gunsmoke was. But Jack Benny and all them, Seth, you would laugh. I mean, you would laugh at some of those shows. They was hilarious, and they were not nasty. They was clean, clean. They was clean. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You would laugh, Seth. You would laugh. You would literally laugh at Jack Benny and all them.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the way it was.
Definitely, man. Well, Harvey, I appreciate you being on, man.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll talk about some other time. And I think we just, a lot of things people need to
Remember?
pray for this country, remember how it was, but really, I mean, I ain't perfect, you ain't perfect, but I think really people, I can remember if anybody's listening, a lot of I've heard a lot of people say, even though when it ain't what you leave to them. I mean, when I die, I mean, it ain't going what I leave to anybody. It's really not what you leave to them; it's what you leave in them. So I think this country needs to get back to that. I mean, what you leave in them. I mean, we didn't have to lock our doors. We weren't worried about somebody coming to steal something.
Now
I
you
mean,
got every
that's
time.
just the way it was.
Yeah. Now you have to worry about it every time you leave your house.
I don't know. For anybody says, "Would I change the thing?" I say no, because we had good neighbors and good friends, and our parents loved us. They did everything in the world. I mean, they really did everything, trying to provide for us, and it wasn't easy, but they did it, and I still think about what they done, everything they done for us.
Yeah.
I mean, but they're going on to a better world than what we are. So, I mean, that's so it is. Yeah.
Yep. Appreciate Harvey being on. It's been the Line Before podcast. Everybody have a good night and God bless.